this is Mike DeVrent. We're here for another Tech Topics with Eberspaecher. Today we're going to cover some coolant pumps, coolant codes, diagnosing coolant systems, and also cleaning and servicing coolant pumps. So, with that said, let's get at it. Now to service these pumps, you need a couple basic tools. The Torx bit that fits the M2 and the Hydronic 1 is a T10 Torx. Once again, the Hydronic 2 and the Hydronic 3 pumps, you can take the cap off, but the magnet will not remove. So there's no sense in trying to clean this. This is a replacement if it's plugged. If it does not rattle, it must be replaced. So we'll set this aside for now. On a Hydronic 1, you have 4 screws. Once it's off and on the bench, one thing I stress, I don't mind taking this apart using a cordless, but I do not put it together using a cordless. These are pretty small screws in here, and there's O-rings, so they're just snugged down, but if you over torque these screws, you can break these screws. So you have 4 screws. And you can see the pump is just screwed to the housing. If you're ever dealing with these housings, please be very careful. Do not pull on these ports. They do break. The pump comes off. You have an E-clip or a snap ring here. Okay? You will feel it dragging here. In order to slide that off, please make sure you're putting your finger across the end of it. If you do not put your finger across it, when it pops off, it will shoot across the shop and you'll never find it again. I'll take a flat bladed screwdriver or a pick and I'll try to just slide it off nicely. If you have a straight pick or some type of other type of 90-degree pick or something, it helps pull the clip off. I'll make sure to hang on to that clip. There's a washer. I'll put my finger over just so I don't lose the washer. And the magnet, now this could be snug. If this is plugged, you must realize you have garbage on the magnet and you have a magnetic field trying to hold this together. So if I can get that little washer off or hold it on my finger, the magnet slides out. When the magnet slides out, you're going to take a rag. You'll take a rag, and I usually will take my screwdriver, put it down in here, and I'll clean out the journal in here. I'll then take the rag, don't lose your washer, and I'll wipe the magnet off here. This must be cleaned. I then slide it back together. Don't lose your parts. Probably the hardest process here is actually picking up the clip and getting it snapped back on. Sometimes I'll do it with my fingers. Sometimes I have a little pair of needle nose that I try to hold on to it because this is very, very small. I slide that back on and clip it. I then do this in reverse and I put the screws back in. Please don't over torque these screws. This is very small screws, and I'll snug them down and put this back together. I'd like to point out that the M2 pump is actually the exact same thing as a Hydronic 1. The M2 pump has 4 screws, has a snap ring, the cap comes off, slide the snap ring off, pull the magnet out, clean the journal both sides, the magnet and the journal that the magnet sits in, reassemble it, and hopefully your problem's fixed. Other things that can cause overheats, just remember, are poor mixtures of antifreeze. Some antifreezes are actually very, very, very heavy when they get cold. It's kind of notorious for food grade or friendly to the environment antifreeze is very heavy. Sometimes that can actually cause problems also if the pump can't move it on top of other back pressures. One other antifreeze as a side note, and I know most people would think this would be crazy, but we're seeing more and more people trying to use RV antifreeze in the systems. You cannot use RV antifreeze in this system. It has no lubricity to keep the shaft seals lubricated, and RV antifreeze gets acidic when it gets hot. So please do not use RV antifreeze. Mag drive pumps, the maximum amount of time for rule of thumb is 60 seconds of dry run and you'll damage the pump. Personally, I would say 60 seconds is way too long. I don't want to see any dry run on these pumps. These are not meant to bleed your coolant systems. You have to have the glycol on the shaft seals to keep them lubricated, because otherwise you're running it dry and you can damage the pumps. So please make sure your pumps are flooded before you turn heaters on, before you try to turn the pumps on. They are not to bleed your coolant system. I hope you get some use out of this. Our tech line phone number is 1-800-387-4800. If we can help you at any point in time, please reach out, and we're always willing to help. Have a great day.